Let's go for it. We're back. We escaped. So we are going to finish the story. Because, yes, I severely underestimated how much time I would need today. So this is a second stream today, I know. Rare treat. This is basically just going to be finishing off the story and then trying a couple of things because we know passwords with old save games just to see what happens. I wouldn't normally do a second stream in a day, but yeah, it's just like I want to get this out of the way today. So let's just get on with it. So we left it on a very important bit where Temioji was about to tell us what the actual is going on. Might as well start with this.
I meant what I said before. That up there is the moon's shadow.
The hell are you saying?
Think about it. If that's the moon's shadow, then what's it falling on?
Earth?
That's Earth?
Yeah.
How the hell are we on the moon?
It's not the red moon you get from a lunar eclipse. And again, this isn't a lunar eclipse. It's a solar eclipse. Anybody in the black spot down there is looking up at the moon covering the sun.
What? No way. If that's the Earth, then where the hell are we?
The moon, of course. This is the lunar surface. We were just inside a moon base.
Oh?
No way. No, you've got to be lying. How do you expect us to believe that? This can't be the moon.
Yeah, that's pretty ridiculous. Besides, if this was the moon, how do you explain the gravity? The moon only has 1/6 of the Earth's gravity. So what's this?
She picked up a rock and dropped it.
See? That looked perfectly normal.
Yes, it looked that way.
Luna?
You were right about the gravity in a way. I was one of the people who knew this wasn't Earth. Well, I suppose I'm not people, if we're being honest, but
Excuse me? What?
please just listen. Alice, you were infected with Radical 6. Then we gave you the Accelavir, which cured you. The Radical 6 isn't completely gone, though. Some of its symptoms stick around for a while.
What symptoms?
Well, Radical 6 can slow down your brain's processing speed by the root of 1/6. It can take a while for your brain to get back up to speed.
Convenient.
Every one of us has been infected. In other words, all of our brains have been processing information at a much lower speed. If you evaluated the root of 1/6, you'll get a number close to 0.408. That means our brains are running at something slightly less than half speed. As you said before, the moon's gravity is about 1/6 that of Earth's. The time that it takes for an object to fall is inversely proportional to the square root of the gravitational acceleration. Since the gravity is lower on the moon, that means the time increases. I guess that's a little technical. Let me give you an example. Say you drop an apple from a height of 4.9 meters. It will take
very
approximately
specific.
1 second to hit the ground. On the moon, however, that time would be 1 second times root 6, which would be approximately 2.45 seconds. I used 4.9 meters because it matches up with the acceleration of gravity nicely, but it could be anything. The gravity constant is, well, a constant. You could drop something from 10 centimeters or 10 meters and it would be the same. Does that make sense? So now we've established that on the moon, things fall root 6 times slower than they do on Earth. That being the 2.45 seconds would feel like 1 second. 4.9 seconds would feel like 2. But it's not hypothetical. That's what's been happening to every one of us. Wait, you're saying that's the reason we didn't notice the weaker gravity? Are you sure you didn't notice anything? Think back. Huh? You and Sigma and Phi said something about it in the lounge. About how you felt weird.
It's kind of like my body isn't really mine. I'm sort of
Oh my god, I totally missed that.
like that.
I mean, there's the power jumps that Phi's done. It seems insane, but what Luna said makes sense. In fact, it explained Phi's apparently superhuman strength quite well. I mean, how on earth did Dio sneak onto the moon?
Wait. This is crazy.
How did
That
we
can't
get to the
possibly
moon?
be Earth out there. Look
It's
at it. I've seen photos of Earth, and it's blue and green and beautiful. That thing is just red.
Before we get into that, I should probably tell you something. This isn't New Year's Eve in 2028. Today is January 27th.
29?
Don't tell me. 30?
Still no.
I mean,
And just
he
what
used
year
to be
is
21, so...
It's 74. 2074.
That's insane. That mean we're abducted more than 45 years ago, which explains the age difference between Clover and Junpei.
It's the truth.
How can you be sure?
It's not that hard. Quark and I left Earth on January 23rd, 2074. Solar eclipses are easy to predict. We've known that there'd be one on the 27th for a long time. That's just science. Nobody can change that.
But why is the Earth red?
That's a long story. About 45 years ago, on April 13th, 2029, there were 18 annihilation reactors operating in various parts of the world. On the 13th, all 18 of them went up, all at the same time. The explosion was about 180,000 times as powerful as the atom bomb they dropped on Hiroshima.
That's
I
why.
suppose it started a few months before that. The government had a test site for a future Mars mission out in the middle of Nevada. On December 31st, 2028, there was an accident. Well, accident doesn't quite convey the right sense of the thing. The point is, Radical 6 claimed its first victims there, then escaped. Didn't take long for it to spread to the rest of the world. Like Luna explained, the virus slows your brain down, but eventually, it also makes you kill yourself. Pretty soon, the bodies started to pile up. Some people would take a dive off a building or shoot themselves in the head. You know, the classics. But for some, it was poison, or fire, or asphyxiation, or the noose. Plenty of people jumped in front of trains or cars. One pilot on a passenger airline drove his plane into the ground. Most forms of transportation ground to a halt pretty fast. That meant food couldn't get distributed, and thousands of people who weren't even infected died from starvation. Everywhere you went, there were just piles of corpses, covered in flies and rats and crows. I don't know what hell's like, but I imagine it's a lot like that. After a while, people who managed to avoid getting infected started trying to get in touch with one another. They got a hold of some radios and organized a couple meetings. There was only one thing to discuss, of course. How could they get rid of Radical 6? The answer, they decided, was purification. They figured they could just roast the surface of the Earth and that'd kill the virus off for good. On April 13th in 2029, they put their plan into effect. That plan was to detonate all 18 annihilation reactors. survivors had already been infected. And when they died, they took billions with them. The ultimate if I die, you're coming with me gesture, I suppose. I'd bet you money they'd all lost it long before they got to the reactors. Killing most of the world, no matter how bad things had gotten, was not a sane plan, even if it wasn't directly responsible. Radical 6 killed most of the people on Earth. Anyway, why it happened isn't that important. Point is, it happened. You ever heard of nuclear winter? Well, that's basically what we got. The explosions threw a ton of crap up into the stratosphere, where it joined up with smoke and ash from all the fires. It blotted out the sun for 7 years. Plants withered and animals died by the millions. The few humans who were left banded together to survive. They were rough times. Eventually they were over, though. The sky cleared and the sun came back. Plants started blooming again, and the animals that hadn't died out completely began to reappear. Things weren't quite back to normal, though. It's been 45 years now, but there's still quite a bit of dust and ash in the air. That's what you're seeing. You know why a sun sets red? Well, this is the same thing. Blue and green light have short wavelengths, and they scatter when they run into debris in the air. Red light, on the other hand, has a longer wavelength, which means it'll get a lot farther when the air's dirty. So there you are. The Earth looks red because that's the only color of light that can make it through the atmosphere.
That's just depressing. I was speechless. What could I possibly say? There was no reason for Temiyoji to lie to us. So we were standing on the moon, looking at the Earth, asking it to love me. Wait, no, wrong song. It's 2074, but why? Why were we there? How were we there? Why were we then? How were we then? How is Clover still 18 or whatever? I was so lost in thought, I barely noticed Fi's approach.
Hey, Sigma. I think I figured something out.
Window popped up on the inside of my helmet with Whisper in the corner. She seemed to be using a circuit only we could hear. Yeah? What is it?
I figured out why there's an extra E.
An extra E? Oh, you mean the graffiti?
Yeah, the one on floor B. I think it's an anagram, just like on floor A.
What's Anna say this time?
God damn it, Sigma! Knock it off!
Sorry, Mom.
Memento mori if the ninth lion ate the sun. If you rearrange the letters, you get... The man on the moon rules the infinite time. See? You need 6 E's to get that. So they stuck an extra one in ninth.
The man on the moon rules the infinite time.
I think it's a message for us from Zero Senior and Akane. Remember what she was telling us?
We created the AB project for one purpose. To transport the consciousnesses of 2 people into the past. Those 2 people are you, Sigma, and you, Vi.
So, what are you getting at?
My God, you're slow. You don't get it? They're saying we rule the infinite time. Infinite time. They weren't just talking about having us jump a couple hours. I think they're planning to send us back. Way back.
Wait a minute. You're saying you think they're going to send us back 45 years? Stress.
Yeah, I'd bet on it.
The ultimate purpose of the AB project is to send us back in time to that catastrophe Temiyoji was talking about.
I think so.
Doesn't make sense, though. I mean, we came from that same time period before it, actually. So why bring us here and then send us back?
Akane should be able to tell us the rest. Let's go pay her a visit.
Do you know where she is?
I've got an idea.
Garden.
Come on, think. Remember what she said when she gave you the key?
Tu fui ego eris.
Grave. The one in the garden.
Well, come on, what are you waiting for?
How
Let's
do we
go.
get back in? We turned around back into the pressure exchange chamber. The others following close behind. No one wants to escape anymore because we're on the freaking moon. How do we get back? Is someone gonna let Kay out of his box yet?
Did you forget something?
We're going to go have a talk with somebody.
Who?
You really need me to spell it out? The person behind all this.
You mean Akane?
What?
I'll take that as a yes. Let me accompany you then.
Wait, why do you know about Akane?
I'll tell you when we get there. Now, if you please.
I think
I'm
Tomioji
coming
might
with
want to
you.
come as... Yeah, there we
You
go.
folks just said the magic word.
Akane! He's been looking for her
I'm
for
going
45
to-
years.
So am I.
Why don't we just all go?
Hey, is this Akane you're talking about?
Yeah, you know her real well.
Wait, you're not... You're serious? What the hell is going on?
Ah, shut up! Just shut up. Calm if you want to. We don't need to do roll call. Once we get there, Kani can explain everything. With that, we headed back through the airlock. But how do we get back into the room? Into the thing? As it said, it's all closed, so we'll see. Maybe floor B? No? The main door's just gonna reopen, right? Sure. Just like that.
Ah, clever. The number 9 door on floor A is shut forever once the game ends. Assuming Zero Jr. was telling the truth, of course. But the door on floor B...
Yeah, thought we might be able to take the lift to it. And it looks like I was right.
Any idea where Akane might be?
Yeah, the grave.
Wait, you mean the grave in the garden?
Yeah. Don't worry. I don't think she's buried there. Chances are she's alive. Anyway, let's move. Hello again.
Is Akane really under here?
I think so.
What should we do?
We
Are
have
we
a
gonna
key.
dig her out?
Oh, no, I don't think we'll have to do anything like that. You see the keyhole on the grave? If I just insert this here. I pulled the key off my ankle and fitted it into the hole. I twisted it to the right until I heard something unlock. Quite grinding, the grave began to shift. So we are down behind the return button, which is behind, not behind my head at least. We're still an ally. It's lock 3. Past after escape and then jump starts. There's like, oh, it's a pod.
What is this? It doesn't look like a coffin.
Yeah,
Treatment pod.
it's a treatment pod.
Oh my god. It is, isn't it?
It's fine. It's a zero pod. The glass on the cover frosted over, making it opaque. You couldn't see who or what within it.
Let's see what's inside.
We have like 9 minute 40 left or something, just under 10 minutes left. She grabbed a hold of the thing.
No good. I think it's locked.
It is locked.
Treatment pod TP00. Stage 1. Defrosting complete.
Yes, we've got to defrost it properly
Stage
first.
2 will be complete in 10 minutes.
So just over 50 minutes.
Once
We're
stage
good at these
2
things.
is complete, the lock will automatically disengage.
Right, cold sleep.
What?
These pods can put people into cold sleep. It uses something called CAS to freeze human bodies without destroying their cells.
So, Ms. Akane's like an ice cube?
Well,
Then
I
we
think so.
gotta wait till she melts?
Well,
So how about you tell us your story while we wait, Kay? Specifically, why do you know Akane?
I remembered
What do you remember?
everything. I was born and raised in this facility. It's called Rhizome 9. A rhizome is an underground plant stem that spreads by sending out roots. Kind of makes sense, doesn't it? This facility is a little like a rhizome. Supposedly, that's why they call these installations that. The number comes from the facility's number. There are 54 rhizomes on the moon, and this is the 9th one. Well, I suppose the other ones don't really matter to you, do they? In any event, I grew up here with Akane and Zero Senior. I watched them create the AB project.
The AB project?
Yes. Its purpose is to send Phi and Sigma, or their consciousnesses at least, to the past.
back 45 years, right?
Yes.
Oh, alright, I'm just gonna be right back. Sorry about that. Right.
So, you want us to change history, huh? Go back and keep Radical 6 from getting out, and stop the reactors from exploding. That's our mission?
Well, not exactly.
What do you mean?
It's true that the ultimate goal of the project is to keep Radical 6 from spreading to the general population. But even if you do make it back, you won't be able to do much. By now, it's already too late.
Too late?
What do you mean?
Let me begin at the beginning.
Good. Well,
you might
actually,
be
I'll begin
thinking
at the
that
end.
Zero Senior and Akane were the ones who created all this. But that's not entirely correct. They only followed the histories they'd already seen. It was the only choice they had.
Nothing less than the future of mankind is at stake. We need the two of you to jump through timelines while maintaining your memories. That is why you had to play the AB game, and why the chromatic doors were necessary. By forcing multiple options, you could make numerous jumps. We speculated that jumping more would strengthen your memories. The puzzles were also there for a purpose. Some theories hold that a moment of insight when you solve a puzzle strengthens your connection to the fourth dimension. That was the reason for the puzzles. Your infection with Radical 6 was also a vital part of our plan. By slowing down your brain's processing speed, we can store your potential. With that energy stored up, we just had to provide a life or death situation to launch your consciousness into the fourth dimension. Like a bullet from a slingshot.
Wait, hold on just a minute here. You keep talking about Sigma and Phi, but what about the rest of us? Why did you bring us here?
That's simple. In earlier histories, you were all here in Rhizome 9. We needed you here to accurately replicate those histories. Although I suppose that's probably not a good enough explanation for you. In a sense, though, it is the truth. Our primary goal was to replicate history. The rest is... Yes, I suppose I should explain. Very well. I will try and do so in a way you can understand. First, Alice and Clover. They were abducted 45 years and 1 month ago, on December 22nd, 2028. The location is Earth, of course. More specifically, Los Angeles, California. Correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
After being kidnapped, your bodies were sent to a facility under Akane's direction. You were placed in treatment pods and immediately put into cold sleep. 4 months later, you arrived at this facility. The date you finally arrived was April 14th, 2029. Your trip from Earth to this facility was aboard a spaceship powered by an annihilation engine. Following your arrival, your pods were placed in long-term storage. Does that make sense?
Are you telling me we were sleeping in those pods here for 45 years?
Yes, in preparation for this day.
But why? What do you need us for?
You are an Esper, aren't you, Clover? I mean that you are able to access the fourth dimension. Am I wrong?
Did Akane tell you?
In a manner of speaking. As I've already explained, the purpose of this project is to send Sigma and Phi's consciousnesses to the past. Espers are able to sort of resonate with one another, which can amplify their power. You understand? And this is why we brought you here, Clover.
What about me?
We needed your help, Alice, to deactivate Dio's bombs.
Huh? But I didn't do anything.
But you did. In another history, you were able to perform a prime decomposition on the 25-digit integer that Dio left behind. Only you could do that sort of thing. Because of your feat of mathematics, we were about to determine that Dio had planted the bombs. Then we were able to question him and get the password for the number 31. Finally, we used that information to stop the bomb in this timeline. Without your help, Alice, we would have been reduced to nothing more than so much space dust.
But
this history
her
exists
brother and
because of your presence.
You know.
Now, let me explain why we needed Tenmyoji and Quark. Tenmyoji is simple. We needed you for the same reason we needed Clover. You are able to access the fourth dimension. Almost half a century ago, you used that ability to save a young girl, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
We needed you to resonate with Sigma and Phi, so we brought you here. All it took was a messenger.
Do you want to see Akane? If you do, come with me. I was a fool and fell for it.
And you brought Quark with you. In fact, you insisted that he come.
Yeah, I know. I guess you were worried about leaving me alone, huh? He kept saying he couldn't run off to the moon and leave me behind.
I'm sorry, Quark. If I hadn't been so stupid and selfish, none of this would have happened to you. I never thought this would happen. Can you ever forgive me?
Oh, don't worry about it. I mean, I agreed to come with you. I thought the moon would be way more interesting than boring old Earth. What kid would turn that down?
Bless
We
him.
didn't see the messenger after we got on the ship. It was on autopilot. As soon as we got in, and headed straight for the moon. During the trip, Zero told me to keep quiet once we got there. I don't remember anything after we landed.
Then there was a bunch of that white smoke, and we passed out, and when I woke up, I was in the AB room.
Now, Dio. His real name is Left, and he's the leader of a terrorist organization called the Myrmidons. He was ordered to come here. The Myrmidons are under the control of an organization called Free the Soul, which is in turn controlled by a man known as Brother. It was Brother who orchestrated the release of Radical 6 into the general population 45 years ago. Do you remember what Phi mentioned earlier? The ultimate purpose of the AB project is to change history and keep Radical 6 from being released. If we succeed, that would be bad for Brother and his organization. Our success would prevent them from creating the ideal world they're working toward. That is why Brother sent Left, his trusted lieutenant, to this facility. They needed to stop the AB project. So, Dio was given 2 tasks. The first was to eliminate Akane, the architect of the AB project. The second was to join the AB game and win it. If Dio won the game, the AB project would not be completed, at least not in that timeline. In other words, in that world, the project would have been stopped. If things didn't go as planned, Dio was given a contingency plan. If you cannot murder Akane and win the game, destroy Rhizome 9. Hence, the bombs.
That's why he was betraying in the first
Can I
2
ask you
spikes.
something?
Perhaps.
How did Brother know about the AB project?
So that's why in the first 2 spikes, magenta and yellow, he was betraying because he was trying to get out there as fast as possible and win. Whereas in the third one, because we stopped him killing Akane, he had to put the bombs in, which means he needed to unlock more rooms to put the bombs in. Thus, he just did ally because then it was less suspicious and people would trust him and he'd have access to stuff. That's clever. That is clever. So there we go.
He was also an Esper. We can set Brother aside for now, though.
Yeah,
May I
we'll leave him
proceed?
to the third game. No one objected. We were all curious.
Excellent. That explains everyone, save 2. Luna and myself. Sigma and Phi already know the truth about Luna. I don't believe I should reveal any more, however. I think it would be more appropriate if you could ask Luna yourselves at a later time. Would that be all right with you, Luna?
Yes, that's okay.
As for me, as I said before, I was born and raised here. The rest of you were brought to this facility, but I've never left. That makes me someone close to Zero Senior and Akane.
Hey, I've been wondering, who is Zero Senior?
You've already met him, Sigma. In another timeline.
Yeah, well, I saw a hologram. I still don't know who he is.
Stage 2 is complete. TP00 unlocking.
It looks like it's finished. Shall we open the pod?
Yeah, let's do it. All of us gathered around the pod. The glass was still covered with frost, hiding the contents.
Okay, let's get started then. Ready?
I laid her hands on the lever and looked at us. I swallowed. Yeah, anytime.
All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Suddenly, my head was full of memories from other timelines. What the fuck is Akane? I'd seen something like this before. It's a staff on his shirt. The warehouse of floor B. In front of the white door. Kay was lying in front of me. I grabbed his mask and saw my own face. I'd never figured out who he really was. Kyle, I think. Why was there a man with my face underneath Kay's armor? It didn't make sense. Clones! Clones! We've had clones. After I'd seen him, I was injected with tubercurin, and that was the end of that. But wait. The person in the pod was the same person I'd seen on the floor of the warehouse. Oh my god! Is Akane and Kay's thing? Oh my god! Who was wearing Kay's armor?
You finally noticed. Didn't I tell you? You won't be alone. I will be at your side, watching over you.
K for Kyle, K for Akane. Oh my god, you're...
Yes, I am.
There's a voice modulator in that. I'd forgotten about this twist.
Akane Kurashiki.
It's you! June! I mean, Akane from... But you're old.
Yes, that's correct.
Tenryuji.
I haven't spoken to you in a very long time, Clover. Or you, Junpei.
Junpei?
Akane.
Hasn't...
Long
Oh,
time no
he
see.
maybe didn't tell Clover in this timeline. I could barely hear what they were saying. My mind was still reeling. I felt like all the air had been knocked out of me. It was all I could do to not collapse right then and there. When did they switch? It must have been at the beginning.
When? How long?
Do you remember when the two of you saved me in the warehouse?
Mm-hmm. That was pretty epic.
Once you saved me, you went back to your future. Well, your minds did, at least. I carried your bodies to the 3rd AB room, and then took Dio's to the 5th. After that, I went into the 1st room and borrowed Kay's armor.
So by the time you and Clover came out, you'd already...
Yes.
Forgotten about this. Doesn't make any sense. Dio killed you. And then Luna took your body to the 6th room. You couldn't have been in Kay's armor.
No, it was me. In this timeline, at least. In this one, I wasn't murdered by Dio. You two saved me. It's just like Schrodinger's cat.
So, in the whole of this, Kay was Akane. Oh, I wish I'd remembered that, because you then analyze all of Kay's conversations based on the fact it's not freaking Kay. I don't even know half of the conversations. Right.
Your actions in the future decided who would be inside the armor in the past.
Alright, what about the other history? The one where you weren't saved. What happens then? Who's wearing the armor?
That's quite simple. The man in front of you.
Him?
That's correct. Whenever I'm not in the armor, he is.
What about the memory loss?
For my part, I confess that I lied. He, on the other hand, was telling the truth. Large doses of soporil can cause memory loss. I gave him a rather large dose.
So, who is he?
You've never seen him before?
No.
What about the rest of you?
I have no idea who he is.
I've never seen him before.
Me either.
Total
He's
stranger.
me. Come on, have you not been looking at this face? Come on, what are you guys saying? Right here. Same face.
Huh?
Huh?
Are you all right, Mr. Sigma? Did you hit your head or something?
I'm gonna leave it on that. I'll be right back. I'm really sorry. Sorry. Side effect of hydrating. Huh? What? Oh my god, it takes to this point until they tell him that he's old? Doesn't make any sense. Why didn't they recognize me?
Sigma, your consciousness can jump through time. You can inhabit your body in the past or in the future.
What does that mean?
Don't you get it? You've jumped to the future. From 45 years ago.
I looked around frantically. Pond! I ran to it and threw myself. Has he not looked in a mirror at all the entire game? Threw myself down on my knees, crawling on all fours as I approached the edge. My heart was hammering in my chest. A cold sweat trickled down my spine. Calm down. Calm down. Calm down, damn it. I struggled to take deep breaths. And slowly, I peered into the pond, looking for my reflection. Oh my god, it's Zero! It looks like the hologram. I can't believe it. This face can't be real. This face and the eye. My god, I didn't realise about the eye. Well, I knew about the eye, but also I'd forgotten about the eye.
It's your face, Dr. Sigma Climb. Although, to the you that's behind it now, it's your face 45 years from now. Zero, the mastermind of the AB project, is you.
I said that he didn't know. It was honest that he didn't know because he's from the past. No, that's not possible. That's bullshit.
No, it's the truth. Fighting it isn't going to do you any good. Please, Doctor.
I'm not a doctor.
You
Not yet,
will
anyway.
be. A pioneer in the field of genetic engineering.
You're lying.
No, I'm not. You created him. Well, I suppose I should say you are going to create him. His name is Kyle Climb, your clone. That is why he looks just like a younger version of yourself. 23 years ago, in the biolab here in Rhizome 9, you created Kyle. Well, I suppose for you, that's still in the future.
Oh dear.
When I said I was born and raised here, I was still pretending to be him. The gravity here is only 1/6 of Earth's. If nothing was done, The reduced gravity would cause his bones to be weaker than normal human ones. But you prepared for that. You gave him that armor. Ever since he was born, he's lived inside of it. It kept his muscles and bones strong. He wasn't forced into it for the nonary game. He's been wearing it every day, all his life.
The bot didn't announce? Oh god, it didn't, did it? I'm so sorry. I didn't notice that, Fuzzy. Otherwise
He
I'd
was
have
to be
pinged.
your spare.
Stupid
If
bot.
something happened to you before the project began, he would take your place.
I do apologise. I hadn't noticed it hadn't pinged. Maybe it's because it's the same day. Yeah, I started at 9:30. Do apologise. Yeah, escape room went well. We escaped. It was fun. We rescued the hotel. But yes, I'm so sorry about I did not announce. Silly bot. Unreliable bot. Actually, to be fair, I think it's Twitch's fault. Because I haven't got a notification on my phone that my stream started, so I have a perfect escape record. 100% escapes out of 60 plus rooms. I have a good team. I mean, it's been down to the wire on some of them, but yeah, no, I think Twitch's API didn't ping, which is why the bot didn't ping, because my phone didn't ping, so the app didn't pick it up. So yeah. Oh, I am both impressive and terrifying, I have been told. But yeah, sorry, next time I'll make sure if it's not announcing, I'll ping myself, but yeah. Anyway, we found out we're on the moon. Akane was hiding in Kay's armor. I think it's like add quote or something. I can't remember. I don't know why. But you should be able to add quotes. No, I think VIPs can. Oh, okay. You don't. Damn it. Okay, right, hang on. There we go. I added it. Yeah, so yeah, we found out we're on the moon. We're still in this story box. I figured, you know, it was about time. I did it earlier. It was like a stealth VIP, I think, while you were on your nap. But yeah, so basically we're just getting the explanation from Kay, who actually turned out to be Akane. Yeah, we're on the moon, and yeah, basically we decided, Tomioji told us we're on the moon and explained what happened to Earth. And then we were like, shit, we need to go back inside and Akane. And then, yeah, we get the whole history of Kay being told by Akane. You know, why everyone was kidnapped and yeah, all that basically. Actually, what did she say? He used to be your spare. Okay. Well, I mean, I only just did it, and I didn't tell you, so I don't expect you to have known.
I mentioned
I thought
before that
VIPs
the
could add
AB
quotes. I should see if I can change
projects
that.
A and B stood for after and before. That isn't all they mean, though. The A also means anima, and the B means body. Anima is another word for the soul, or the consciousness. Body is, well, exactly what it says on the tin. The past consciousness will go into the future body, and the future consciousness will go into the past body. They switch. That was the chief goal of the project.
Wait, so the future person goes into the past person?
Sigma, do you remember the note you found in the garden?
I mean, to be fair, they're just remembering all of this. They didn't have to come up with it. They're fulfilling a self-fulfilling prophecy. But yeah, the fact that we are 45 minutes in and we're literally just getting explanations means that, yes, I definitely underestimated how long I needed. Definitely underestimated how long I needed. But that's fine. We're making up for it now.
You mean this, right?
Oh yeah, that one.
Yes. Ah, of course, it was you who investigated the garden in this timeline.
Yeah.
Sigma, take a good look at this. It's an illustration of the time jumps your consciousness is making. A is where everything began. December 25th,
Excuse me.
2028.
It's a bootstrap paradox. Exactly.
You inhaled the white smoke in your car and lost consciousness. From there, you jumped to B. January 25th, 2074. You woke up in one of the AB rooms in Rhizome 9. You are in your own body, but it is 67 years old. Your consciousness has jumped 45 years into the future. I believe that may explain why you didn't notice the reduced lunar gravity. The body you woke up in was much older. Normally, you would have noticed that your muscles were much weaker. In this case, however, the lower gravity balanced that out.
Rather cleverly, in fact. I will not say
Moving on.
anything. Lips
If
sealed.
you continue along this line, what happens
It
next?
does have a Nevada test site on that
You
dibbly bloop.
reach C, which is January 27th, 2074. That is today.
Whoa. Wait, what do you mean? Are you saying it's been 2 days since we woke up?
36 hours to be exact.
Blimey, and they haven't needed to sleep or eat or pee. Yes, they did actually. Clover and Fi and possibly someone else complained that they felt weird, like they weren't in their own body. And then obviously Fi had like the superhuman jumping beanness. So they did explain that. But also they were infected by Radical 6, so they were slowed down by Route 6, whatever. So, you know, in between that, things got explained away. You know, the fact that it was explained away by like the Soperil and stuff, yeah. The superhuman jumping and strength and things. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'd forgotten it was Akane and Kay's armor, and I was like, shit, what did I miss in this thing that was Akane pretending to be Kay, but hinting she was Akane? Well, I can't do anything about that, Leaky. I didn't. I'd forgotten that was a thing. I knew she was alive somehow, but I'd forgotten, and I was surprised by it again, which is cool because it's nice to forget things because my memory remembers shit and it's frustrating. So, yeah. But yeah, because I mean, pretty much everything else I'd remembered. Just that bit I'd forgotten, which was cool. So yeah. Oh my god, Sexy Brutale is awesome. I really want to replay it, but also I remember it. But I will watch you stream it. If you stream it, then that would be cool. You don't have to, but if you streamed it, then that would be cool, because then I could watch it and like rediscover stuff. But because I remember too much of it. Oh yeah, I played it when it came out. But I could probably recite the entire plot. I have stupid memory. I don't remember names and dates and faces, but I can remember the entire plots of things. Except for that particular twist. I'm not going to recite the plot. It's just going around in my head. So yeah. A couple of them had mentioned that they felt weird and light and disconnected from their body, which was obviously the gravity thing. Yeah, pretty much any media that I've heard, I can recall. To varying degrees of accuracy, considering I've played 700 odd games. No, sorry, not 700. I've played nearly 1,000 games. Nearly 1,000 games. I probably, I would need like a tiny memory aid and I would be able to recall it. Like a couple of screenshots from the game possibly, or a plot summary, and I would be able to recall most of what I've played. And that's just on Xbox, so. I loved Quantum Break. But again, I know the entire plot. Yeah. As for anything that involves sounds, I can generally recall quite easily. Yeah, little flashes. I just forgotten that particular plot point. Oh, Quantum Break's great. But yeah, I'd forgotten that particular plot point that Akane was in the suit. I was still expecting her to be in the treatment pod. But I remembered that like Luna was a golem, Dio was the big bad, and that sort of thing. But yes, that particular little plot point I had forgotten, which was nice to rediscover. But yeah, when you've got like 40+ hour game, you know, there's going to be tiny details you don't remember.
Have you already forgotten? You are all infected with Radical 6.
Oh yeah,
the
so it
virus slowed your
feels
brain down. So
long.
yes,
It feels shorter.
36 hours of real time have passed. But to you, it only seemed like 14 hours and 40 minutes.
Yeah.
Now comes the important part. After this, your consciousness will return to the past. It will re-emerge at point D. April 13th, 2029. You will return to your younger body.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's the same day as the reactor explosions.
Yes. That is why I said it will be too late. You will return to the past, but the events you would want to prevent will have already happened.
Sorry, I'm just gonna have to get the thing out, and I'm gonna... Where's the bloody mystery schematic? There we go. So, we started at A. A is December when we got kidnapped. We then moved to B, which is when we woke up in the room. C is where we are right now. Then we go back. Hang on. Then we go forward, then we go back up to D. D is the explosion point. So from D, we then go forward to B in real time, and which is how we get old. And then that goes back to the Nevada test site. No, sorry, not the Nevada test site. It goes back to A, which is when we were kidnapped. So that B goes back there. So then what happened to the old consciousness was it just went forward in time and followed D. So E, D, C, and to the future. So so it went forward in time through the Nevada test site, through E, to D, and at the point where they swap consciousness, the old personality goes back in and switches into C. So they now effectively, linear timeline has been snipped, and then put back together, and that continues into the future with everyone dead and the planet still whatevering. So what this is saying is that at some point at E, the timeline could potentially be changed, because then we've got to vary off to the right. That's how I'm reading this, if this is consciousness moving, because there's a split at E. So at some point, instead of just going forward to D, which is the explosion, and then flipping back to C, having not been able to do anything, in fact at E, whatever E is, something can be changed. But we can only go back to D, so I don't know how we change that.
The story does not end there, however. The line continues.
And then it loops, and
After
you continuously
reaching
stalk in a
point
loop.
D, you will eventually return to B. But this time, you won't be jumping through time, or at least not at a rate faster than normal. Your
45 years.
consciousness will spend 45 years inhabiting the same body until
Original body.
you reach point B. Do you remember when B is Sigma?
January 5th, 25th. According to what you just told us, it's 36 hours ago.
Correct. That was when the consciousness of the 22-year-old Sigma jumped into the body of 67-year-old Sigma. So where did the older version of you go when you took his body?
Back to Christmas Day, 2020, whatever. 8. They all this started.
Yes. His consciousness will go back in time 45 years. For a period of time, he will inhabit your younger body. While your younger consciousness is
For
elsewhere,
4 months.
he will be you in the past.
Once that body reaches point D, my 22-year-old consciousness will come back from point C.
That's correct. When that happens, the older version of you will be ejected from your younger body and return to your body at
But that
C.
means that at point E, when we diverge, that's still my old self in my young body. Dream come
Rotating.
true, I guess.
I suppose you could put it that way.
It's rotating, yeah.
But look at this illustration closely. What if you take all these lines and untangle them? You get one single line. It may look complicated, but in truth, it's a single straight path, with one exception.
E. The red blob.
Exactly. Point E is December 31st, 2028, the day of the total eclipse.
Oh, that's where it's red. The day Radical 6 got out of the test facility.
Yes. By now,
So my old
you've
self is going
likely
to test
figured
site
it
in my new
out
self.
on your own. The purpose of the AB project was to get the consciousness of the 67-year-old Sigma from point B to point A. If we can do that, we can change what happened 45 years ago.
So the old version of me will keep Radical 6 from getting out. By jumping into my 22-year-old body on New Year's Eve.
Yes, that is why this line could not be interrupted. In order for the 67-year-old version of you to reach point B, we first have to go through point D. In order to get to point D, we must jump from point C. And for point C to happen, we had to recreate everything that happened in this facility. That is why we have faithfully retraced history up to this point.
Because
So
of
that
course-
we might save humankind from destruction and undo the horrors of the last 45 years.
But then you undo Quark. Has anyone not thought of that? You undo Quark, you undo Kay and Luna.
What is that?
Tell me one thing. You said that point C is January 27th, which is today. There's going to be a jump, and I'll jump to April 13th, 2029.
Yes, that's right.
But look, I'm still old. When's this jump supposed to happen?
Very soon. Yes.
And what's going to trigger it?
We need potential energy stored to send your consciousness into the fourth dimension. Fortunately, we now have plenty of that. Thanks, ironically, to Radical 6. All that remains is to launch your consciousness, like a bullet from a slingshot.
How would you propose to do that?
Didn't I tell you? A
No.
crisis. A moment balanced between
freaking
life
shoot me,
and
aren't you?
death. That can jumpstart your brain.
What do you mean?
You haven't figured it out. I mean this.
Oh yes, the knife. Hi, Myrmidons. To use knife. No sooner were the words out of my mouth. That's why I was the only one. What the flick? Fie! I screamed and leapt towards them. Akane was already in motion, the knife diving towards Fi's chest. No one explained Fi's travelling thing. It was almost there. And then suddenly, when I regained consciousness, I was on the floor. There was a dull pain in my chest. Oh yeah, she just stabbed me. We never get... And it felt for a cut, but something was in the way. It took me a moment to realise that it was Akane's body lying on top of me. I twisted my neck to look around. Nearby was an old tombstone. On it was written a few words in Latin. To qui ego est. What you are, I was. What I am, you will be. Appropriate. But yeah, no, Fi's journey isn't explained really either. But that's because it said it was for later. Okay. More credits. Yeah, so we've gone another hour. I'm not going to say anymore. Third game. This keeps on saying, oh, we'll tell you later. Yay, credits. Exactly. But it's not the end. This is just Fi's end. You've discovered there's at least... Ooh, new destination. There's at least one part of the game you've never seen? With Fi's end. And a bloop. Time after time. When you were looking up how much of the game saw Fire's ending. Okay, so yes, we're getting closer to the 48 hours I originally said. So now we've got headquarters, which is before this part. That now has a... hang on, there's a whole... oh yeah, there's a gap. I forgot there was a gap. They're not actually connected. Interesting. Okay, so that's Fire's End. Okay, well, we'll be doing the rest of it. Let's go back here. Headquarters, April 13th. So this is the jump. How did you miss part of the game?
Today is April 13th, 2029, and this is the evening news. Unfortunately, I'm sorry.
Oh, I found... well, I always find all the files, you see.
All of our station's reporters have passed after contracting Radical 6. So have my... excuse me. I've managed to keep us on the air until now.
I will show you it.
But I'm out of tricks. It's time for me to sign off. This concludes our broadcast day. I pray that someday our world can be cleansed of this horrible plague. Goodbye.
Oh, great. Yeah, shoot yourself on live TV. Wonderful. But yeah, I always collect all the files, you see, so I have everything. So I always have to do everything. The moment I just stared at the TV, the roar of the static seemed to fill the entire room until with a click, it disappeared too. Yeah, exactly, achievement hunter in me. Power gone out? I heard footsteps behind me and turned around. Yo! Why are you wearing that? Kane?
It looks like the first step was successful.
What the fuck? You killed me!
Killed?
I guess technically you're going to kill me? 45 years from now, but
Hey.
still.
No need to be rude about it. I didn't kill you. I hit you with the butt of the knife. You're fine.
Okay.
Yes. You and Phi needed to experience a state of crisis. That was the only way.
Me and Phi?
Yes. I only told you about you, but we also needed Phi to jump.
To when? Same place? The 3 pods.
Now, you know what happens next, right?
We go to the moon?
Correct. We will be leaving tomorrow, April 14th, 2029.
Those look like
We've
the
nearly
rubes.
finished preparing your shuttle. Only a few last-minute checks and additions.
That,
You'll be traveling to Rhizome 9,
Snake
along
was
with 3
wearing.
treatment pods.
Alice and Clover, right?
Yes,
And what about the 3rd one? Who's in there?
Phi. We put her into cold sleep 2 days ago. She appeared at our headquarters and volunteered to be frozen. That wasn't the Phi who jumped from point C, though. It was Phi before she jumped from point A to point D. In other words, she was following the same path you are. And she still is.
Then that means that after you froze her, the point C version of her jumped back into her body?
Yes. The point C version of Phi is sleeping in that pod. She'll stay there for the next 45 years.
That's why she's still
sleeping
young.
in ice.
Then when she gets to point B, her consciousness will jump to point A, right?
Correct.
So that's why she didn't look old. So why didn't you just stick me in one of those pods? Because you have to do all the work, Sigma!
We can't do that.
It
You
Because you have to
figured
do
it
the
out?
work.
You have to spend the next 45 years working on the AB project. After arriving at Rhizome 9, you must master genetic engineering and artificial intelligence programming, among other disciplines. Otherwise, you will be unable to create Kyle, Luna, and Lagomorph. And, of course, you will need to develop the chromatic doors and the bracelets. You will also be the person who summons Tenmyoji and Quark. Once you've completed all the preparations, then the project can actually begin. January 25th, 2074. You will defrost Phi and carry her to the third AB room. Once you've done that, the 22-year-old version of you from point A will force you out. And you'll just go back 45 years to your own body on December 25th, 2028.
And then I change history? Do you really think I can keep the virus from getting out?
You have to.
That would be funny.
If you don't, billions of people will die. Only you and Phi can save them.
Yeah. Aren't you an Esper too?
I can't do anything on my own. If this is going to work, I'll need your help.
Junpei? Because Junpei spent 45 years looking for you. You were on the fucking moon. So what do I need to do?
What do you mean?
Like, what specific actions do I need to take? When Phi and I jump to point A, what are we gonna do then?
You'll both enter the Mars mission test site. I don't know. I'm sorry.
What?
I really don't know anything about what happens in there. We don't know how the Radical Six escaped. We don't even know why it was there in the first place.
Ah, crap. Then we're screwed.
That's why we need your help. You have the ability to jump through time and across parallel worlds. We need you to figure out what happened in that test facility. Things will be difficult, and I'm sure you will find yourself in a great deal of danger. But I believe the two of you can overcome any obstacle.
Wait, how do you know it's so dangerous?
The 67-year-old version of you told me what happened. He wasn't able to stop the virus. So I suppose you could say you told me after you failed.
What did I say?
That the test facility is full of traps. There was one point, a woman's life was in danger. You risked yourself for her sake, and lost your arms and your right eye.
My arms and my right eye? Right, cool. Yep. Suddenly, a rumble shook the building. What was that?
Go have a look.
I moved slowly to the window. It's a fucking awful window. I peered outside. I moved slowly to the window and peered outside. On the horizon I could see a massive mushroom cloud, moving slowly towards the sky. Would we really be able to change the course of history? You'll find out! Yes, you need to play the third game to find out. No, that's the wrong way to look at it. It could be a question. It had to change history. I had to change history. We could save the world. I'm going to change history. Oh, hang on. Right. I'm going to change history. I stare at the darkening skies above us and steel myself. I would succeed. I'd forgotten about the arms and the eye, like as it related to something that happened in the test site thing. End or beginning? You choose. Fire and ice. So the end, or maybe the beginning. Just eliminate that, because this is our final one. So, that is the Akane end. And then... Yeah! I mean, maybe they just assumed that was, like, how... So this is what you've not seen. Doesn't seem reasonable for the area they went, but yeah, I remember everyone didn't. I mean, you know, it was 2028, 2029, but pseudo canon? No, this is totally canon.
Where?
I see you've finally woken up, Kyle.
Kyle.
Ah, yes. Of course. You've only just woken up in this timeline. It's only natural for some of your memories to be missing.
He lurched upright, jumped off the bed, and ran around to the other side of the partition. The mirror over the sink was covered with a film of dirt. It always is. So how we managed not to realise we were an old guy. I wiped it off with my sleeve and my reflection stared back at me. There was no mistake. The reflection belonged to... Sorry, you've just written an entire essay which I have to switch screens to read. Oh, right, okay, fair enough. It's fine, it's just because it was too big to fit in my little window that I've got for my chat over there, which I have to have the font really big so I can actually read it. That I have to read it on my computer next to me, so yeah. Okay, so it's not canon. Alright, well... I played it before and got this bit, so... It's fine, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. That's why I have two chats. We'll see, won't we? No mistake, the reflection belonged to...
Climb. So, I'm Dr. Climb? Zero Senior's clone?
What? How do you know that? Shouldn't you still be suffering from amnesia?
An excellent question. One I didn't quite know the answer to myself. Hi, Kai. I knew who Carl Clinton was. In another history, he had been called K and had worn a suit of armor. Originally, players shifting into Sigma? He hadn't just worn the armor in that history, though. Apparently, he'd worn it all his life. I don't remember this bit very well at all, so I can't tell you. Kyle had been born and raised in this lunar installation, which seemed to be called Trizome 9. Rather late in his life, Akane appeared as a mother figure, and he had consequently grown very attached to her. I knew everything about him. But even though I knew it, I didn't feel it. Was I really Kyle Clem? Every time I looked in the mirror, I saw his face. I wonder whether this was Sigma jumping in to Kyle somehow because he died of a heart attack or something. I don't know. It is a multiverse. There was Dio. Hang on. Oh, so this is Kyle having woken up from being frozen kind of thing. There we go. I looked down. There was Dio. Yeah, everything is canon. Yeah, Dio's still handcuffed. It is a multiverse game. Exactly. Anything's possible. I look back over
What day
to
is
Lee.
today?
January 27th, 2074.
Today is the last day of the AB project. Akane has explained everything in the garden. And she drew a knife and attacked Phi. How long have I been asleep?
The player is
About
me.
5 hours in real time. For them, it would have seemed like a little more than 2 hours.
So they still haven't been treated for their Radical 6?
No, they've all been given the antiviral. It just takes a while to have an effect.
I see. So the consciousness of the younger Sigma has gone back into the past. It should have happened right after Akane attacked Phi, right?
Yes,
Why
That
am I
counts
here?
them.
the doctor carried you back here. You were in the pod in the garden.
So the person you call the Doctor is Sigma Klein, as inhabited by his age-appropriate consciousness.
Yes, but how do you know that?
Yeah, I shouldn't remember
Dio
this.
seems to have remained unconscious.
Yes, I've been administering Soparil whenever he gets restless.
What about the others?
They've all gone off to different areas. Tenmyoji and Quark, for instance.
Oh, right. Mr. Klein.
So the sleepyhead's finally up, huh?
Oh, I do
What are
remember
you two doing
this.
here?
You don't know where we are?
This is the upper floor of the pressure exchange chamber. The real one.
Mm-hmm.
We were just about to get dressed and head out.
You plan to return then? To Earth, I mean.
Yeah.
Sigma told us where we could find the shuttle that brought us here. Well, guess he's not really the Sigma I knew anymore. He's Dr. Klein now, or Zero Senior, depending on how you look at it.
Why?
What do you mean, why?
Well, I'm just curious why you would choose to return to a devastated planet when you could stay here.
Okay, so just because it amuses me. So, the criminal must be mentioned early on. I think that one, we knew it was Zero. We knew it was Zero. Okay. So, technically that one wasn't broken, I reckon. Though, the fact that we didn't know that we were Zero, you know. Okay. 2. All supernatural or preternatural agencies are ruled out. Well, that went out the window. 3. No more than one secret room or passage. Secret rooms, particularly. There was that hidden bit under the gravestone, but that was just a pod. There were secrets in the rooms. 4. No hitherto undiscovered poisons may be used, nor any appliance which will need a long scientific explanation. Yeah, that one went out the window. We had tubercurin and Radical 6 and all that nonsensey scientific explanation. So there we go. Yeah. 5. No one with ESP or similar powers can appear. Well, I mean, that's the entire premise of the game, so there we go. 6. No accident must ever help the detective, nor must he have an unencountable intuition which proves that to be right. I mean, him getting slashed on the hand? Tubercurin is real? Okay, I'm slightly concerned that you know that. Radical 6 then. Let's say Radical 6 as a thing. But anyway, so accidentally discovered that he was a robot because he slit his hand. I mean, pretty much everything that unlocks a lock is discovered accidentally, and he has a lot of intuition. Yeah, exactly. 7. The detective must not commit the crime. That one made me lol so much when I read it the second time, but I'm like, I'm not going to spoil this. 8. The detective must declare any clues he may discover. I think we did that. We did declare everything because we were us. We didn't know anything either, so there we go. 9. The stupid friend of the detective, the Watson, must conceal nothing from the reader. Well, everyone was concealing everything, so yep. Twin brothers and doubles generally must not appear unannounced. Clones. Clones. So, I did say pretty much every one of those is broken, but I think 1 or 2 possibly are still intact. Right. we'll
How's staying
carry
here
on
gonna
now.
help? You aren't gonna say something idiotic about how we should wait here until Sigma changes the past, are you? You can't wait for something that's already happened.
Yeah.
Grammar doesn't work that way. Hell, nature doesn't work that way. You following me? We've already lived through history. Sigma failed to keep the virus from getting out. About 45 years ago, Radical 6 created a pandemic, and the antimatter reactors blew up. That all happened. Whatever Sigma does in the past, history's not going to change. In fact, it's because of what he did or didn't do in the past that we've got this past and present. Let me give you an example. Imagine a group of 100 motorcycles driving down an endless freeway. Eventually, they hit a junction. The road splits in two. One freeway continues off northwest, and the other stretches out to the northeast.
Oh, Kirara.
So
okay.
one guy, we'll call him S, pipes up. "Let's go northwest," he says. So they take the northwestern road, but about a mile past the intersection, something horrible happens. A semi driving the other way veers into their lane and plows through the bikers. 90 of them die. The surviving 10 are wounded, but survive. They don't stop, though. They keep riding down that highway, and eventually they'd gone 10,000 miles. Then suddenly, something happens that they couldn't have predicted. S, who had survived, suddenly has his consciousness thrown back in time. He ends up back in his own body just before they reach the junction. He remembers everything. So what does S do? What anybody would do. Let's go northeast. That means all 100 of the bikers survive to reach their destination, happy and healthy. And they all live happily ever after. That's what you're thinking, right? It's a great outcome for the 100 bikers that went northeast. But what about the 10 that went northwest and survived the accident?
Huh? Wouldn't it be 9 people? I mean, S's mind went back in time, right?
Right. Okay, 9 people then. What happens to the reality they were living? Does it just disappear when S changes the past? It's not as if it was only bad things that happened during that 10,000-mile trip. Maybe one of them fell in love with a woman working at a gas station they stopped at and had a child. Maybe one of them picked up a homeless kid who joined them on their adventure. That 10,000-mile journey would be full of stories. Friendships, farewells, romances. The loss of those 90 lives is horrible and unfortunate. But what would rewriting their history mean? The 9 who survived lived full lives. How can it be right to just erase all that? The survivors overcame their own misery and loss and made the best they could of the hand they'd been dealt. Isn't that worth something?
Giving me
Isn't that the
flashbacks,
best
guy.
thing that humans can aspire to? Is there really any point to a world where
Unless I'm remembering it
everything's
from this
happy?
game, but
Are people who
remembering
struggle
something
for a
else.
better life just idiots? Being human is about fighting even when it seems hopeless, and finding happiness even in a world that hates it. Are you saying that's worthless? If you're saying rewriting the past will erase all these other timelines, then whatever God wrote those rules can Look, I'm just not going to accept that, all right? You get it?
Well,
Sigma
a different
changes the
version of you
past,
gets to
and
be.
you and Quark will never meet.
Is he right?
No, it's not going to happen. We're here right now. This is reality. Even if Sigma does change the past, we're not just going to disappear or something.
Oh! Then that means we get to stay together?
Yes.
Good.
Thanks, kid.
I
And
understand
root
how
beer
you feel.
floats.
Why you want to return to Earth is clear. You have lives there, I imagine. There are likely people waiting for you.
Right.
Uh-huh.
Have you already said goodbye to the others?
Vi, Luna, Alice, and Clover all saw us off. We told them we'd see him again someday, and then came here.
They were the only people you want to say goodbye to?
Well, no point saying anything to Dio.
Besides, he's asleep. You were asleep too.
Sorry, but we didn't really know much about you.
You have a point. Akane was in the armor in this timeline, after all. What about Sigma?
Well, he's not really Mr. Sigma anymore.
Of course. He is Dr. Klein now that his consciousness has returned.
Yeah, but more importantly, he's the guy who brought us all here. Not a lot of warm feelings there, you know?
But he was the guy
And
that you knew just
Akane?
45 years ago.
Never mind her. She's just like him. Not the Akane I knew. She must have seen some pretty awful things over the years. Hell, she might not even be human anymore. But the Akane Kurashiki I know isn't here. She's not anywhere.
In a different timeline, I'm sure you are live happily
In
ever
the end,
after.
Clover and I were just pawns. Pawns to be used and then gotten rid of. Still, it's not like we're completely resentful.
This is basically
We had to be here to help change the past. That part's easy to understand. But
Kinda sucks, though.
exposition.
I mean, Sigma and Phi have it easy.
It's like
They get
giving
to
us
go
closure.
back to December
Closure.
25th in 2028. They'll stop the Radical
Yeah.
Six and save the world, and then they'll have a nice, normal future to look forward to.
Yeah, but
In other words, they get to go back to Point E and just enjoy
maybe we
history
can
like it was
defrost you
supposed to
at point
happen.
E and stuff.
but we don't. We're stuck with point C as our starting point.
You told us about Tenmyoji's story, right? The one with the motorcycles? It would be like if Alice and I were kidnapped right before the intersection. Then whoever grabbed us takes us to wherever the bikers are going, 10,000 miles to the northwest.
Don't get us wrong. We know why we had to be here.
Also,
Without
the jellyfish.
us, S's consciousness wouldn't have been able to go back to right
Disappointed.
before the intersection.
If that couldn't happen, then the fate of those 90 dead bikers would be sealed. But
It's still not the best situation for those of us left in the Northwest. We're stuck in the reality where the 90 bikers died.
are we just supposed to go live on Earth? It's a wasteland now. And what about our friends and families? We left a whole world behind 45 years ago.
Even if it is for the greater good?
It just doesn't seem fair, does it?
Yeah, it's a little bit much.
So we went and talked to the old lady.
She told us that there is one way.
One way we could get back to the past.
Let's say you do go back to the past. Wouldn't that cause your minds to get thrown back here? That seemed to be how Sigma and Phi's jumps worked, at least.
Yes, you're right.
But this is different.
Different. How so?
From what she said, it sounds like there's a way we can send our bodies back in time, too.
That's ridiculous. It would create a paradox. How could you have two Clovers and two Alices at the same time?
But that wouldn't happen.
Akane says there's a way around that.
How on earth does she plan to do that?
Schrodinger's?
Cat.
They're on the moon as well, so they wouldn't be on Earth.
Oh, hey, Kyle. Figured you'd come here eventually.
Where's Dr. Klein? Luna said you were with him.
He said he was tired, so he's off resting right now. There's a bedroom at the end of the hallway. He's in there if you're curious.
There's a bedroom at the end of the hallway. Fair enough. I'm just going to be right back. I'm really sorry. Lots of hydration today. Good for the brain, but not so good for everything else. I'll be right back. Oh, right. Hi. I came back to a read. Right, what did I miss on the chat? So yes, Kitty asking about about streaming. Yeah, probably about another 20 minutes. Yes. Wait till we're at literally the very end of the game. So it's just doing the Tom Clancy. It's just doing the let's do all the characters. So like literally at the end of the very, very, very big. Thank you for the sub. I really appreciate that, Kitty. Yeah, we've done a lot. But this is the epilogue. It's giving us closure on all of the characters. And then we're going to go and see if we can cheat the game. Now we finished.
Oh, right. He told me to turn on this hologram projector thing when you showed up. Want me to start it?
Sure.
Yes, optional and missable, but it's an achievement.
There isn't anything in particular that I have to tell you. However, I imagine there are a great number of things weighing on your mind.
Yeah, so we've got one achievement left. And then get all the other achievements.
I'd love to answer all your questions, but
Valhalla is fun.
my circumstances make that an impossibility.
Thank you.
I hope you can forgive me. Everything I know,
I have hay fever.
should also know. I have instructed her to answer any questions anyone might have. Anyone other than Kyle, that is.
What does he mean, other than Kyle?
Who knows? Is there anything you want to ask?
Right, well, I guess I may as well cut to the chase. Just who are you, Fi?
I'm not Superman, that's for sure. And I'm not Batman or Spider-Man or Aquaman or a merman or a wolfman.
I'd love to answer all your questions. Okay.
I'm not a Brahmin or common or ramen. I'm not a Cayman either, so you really don't need to worry about anything.
Okay,
Please
that
don't dodge the question.
Anything.
About 5 hours ago, Akane attacked you with a knife. That triggered something which sent your mind back to the past, correct? Specifically, you were sent to Point D, April 13th, 2029. On that date, your body was already in Akane's custody.
That is a good game.
Although by then you were in
bartending
cold
one.
sleep. You wouldn't have regained consciousness, but your mind was now inhabiting that body. That pod was your home for 45 years. You slept there, frozen, until the time was right. Then on January 25th, 2074, you were finally thawed out, even though you didn't wake up. Still unconscious, you were carried to the AB room. That was when your consciousness changed bodies again. A version of you from December 25th, 2028 arrived, pushing you out and sending you back to December 25th, 2028. This is when you finally woke up. In 2028, you found and joined forces with Sigma, whose older mind was inhabiting his younger body. Together, you attempted to infiltrate the Mars mission test facility. Unfortunately, your plan failed. The Radical Six did escape on New Year's Eve. That failure determined the path you followed.
Assassin's Creeds.
Instead of going along the line that branches out to the right from Point E, you headed straight to Point D. Point D being April 13th of the following year. That was the day that you made your way to Akane's hideout and asked to be put into one of the treatment pods. Another consciousness enters your body around that time from the future.
Old Sigma mind is in Sigma, who's in the bedroom asleep.
It is, of course, the version of you that left your body when Akane attacked you in the garden. This caused the two versions of you to swap places.
Exactly.
And you moved 45 years into the future, where you woke up on the garden floor. That put you on the line that comes here. So if we discount the time you spent in cold sleep, for you, only 3.5 months have passed since that happened. That being when you were sent back into the past from the garden. Have I missed anything?
No, everything you talked about you got right.
Well, what do you mean by that?
I'm kind of an unknown variable in this equation. You could
Yeah,
think
both
of
of them
me as a
shifted
kind of
back.
X Factor. It's taken me the last 3.5 months to understand it.
And I haven't understood anything in the last 3.5 seconds. Could you please explain?
It's kind of like the relationship between classical mechanics and modern physics. Strictly
Sure.
speaking, you can't combine
I love her
velocities
analogies,
with
make
V1
no
plus
sense.
V2. V1 plus V2 divided by 1 plus V1 times V2 over c squared is the actual equation. Of course, the sort of velocities we encounter in day-to-day life don't come close to being c squared, which is the speed of light squared. That means that 1 plus V1 times V2 divided by c squared is usually going to evaluate to something pretty close
Yes,
to 1.
exactly.
Since that would mean dividing
I'm
by 1,
completely lost.
it's usually okay to just skip that step and use V1 plus V2. You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely
In
not.
most situations, it works, even if it isn't technically correct. So you knew enough to get the stuff you were talking about right. As long as you stick to that, you won't run into any problems.
I don't quite understand.
I have no
In
idea
fact,
what you just said.
I feel like you're dodging my questions.
So was that what you wanted to ask about?
No. What I really want to know is what happened between Christmas and New Year's Eve in 2028. You and Sigma infiltrated the Mars mission test site, didn't you?
Fire's a special battle.
Yes.
What happened there? How did Sigma lose his eye and both his arms? And why was Radical 6 in there in the first place? What could a deadly virus have to do with the simulated mission to space?
Spoilers.
Sorry, but I can't tell you that.
Why?
You have to play the third game.
It would change history. There is a history where the virus didn't escape. That's the line that goes to the right of point E. In that timeline, humanity isn't heading for annihilation, and Earth isn't red. The future is much brighter. But if I tell you what you're asking me right now, then that
I've been
reality
going
will
white since I
disappear.
was like 21.
You understand?
I don't. Why would all of that disappear if you told me what I want to know?
I'm not spoiling
about to go
anything.
back to the
She's spoiling
past,
stuff.
right?
Or not spoiling
The
stuff.
past? Don't be silly. I can't do that.
Then where the hell did you learn all this stuff? I just listened to you tell me a bunch
Fine.
of things you shouldn't have known about. You were sleeping in the pod in the garden. You just woke up. So how can you know all this?
It's a very
you
good
know
question.
my past. Sigma's past.
Because I'm the player. We're not going to explain that. We're just going to go to the garden
I
and
shall
see a
give
guy.
you your answer. You are not Kyle Climb. Your body is Kyle's, but your consciousness is not. Think about it. Do you really believe you are Kyle? Or could you be someone else entirely?
Then, where is the real Kyle's consciousness?
He was thrown out when you entered. Right now, in a manner of speaking, he has arrived at December 25th, 2028. His consciousness has gone into a body from that time. I doubt you know how much the Doctor loves Kyle. He raised him on his own. Kyle is irreplaceable. Do you really think he would go back to the past and leave Kyle behind here?
I don't remember this.
I
bit.
know what I told the others, that Kyle was Dr. Climb's spare. But that was
No,
not
it was just
his
Fi was
only
not
purpose.
spoiling. Not anyone here was spoiling.
Kyle's consciousness is integral to what we are trying to accomplish. This new mission begins on Christmas and ends on New Year's Eve 2028. Its purpose will be to infiltrate the test facility and prevent the spread of the virus.
Who did Kyle go
For
back
this to happen,
Who are
Kyle
we?
is absolutely necessary.
And that is why he created him?
Yes.
So now that my consciousness has entered his body, the Doctor has achieved his objective. Kyle has gone back to 2028 to participate in his mission.
But I'm not in the third game to be
There's one
replaced.
thing that troubles me. Kyle was created before reaching point B from point D. That means his body did not exist on Christmas in 2028. Does that mean he has entered my body? Have we just switched places?
I suppose you could
No,
put it that
personally,
way,
me,
yes.
Joe, is
That's
not in the game.
ridiculous.
That's not a spoiler.
What's going to
It
happen
couldn't
to
be
me?
in the game.
You telling me I have to spend the rest of my life here in this box, living in a borrowed body?
No, not at all. You can travel freely through time and space. You are an uncontrolled variable that entered our closed system. As such, the rules of this world do not apply to you.
I have no idea what...
Please don't try to play dumb. I know what you are. Surely you must know by now, too. You are about to go into the past and save the world. Phi and Sigma, even with all of his future knowledge, will need your help.
I'm the uncontrolled
Only
variable.
you can right the horrible wrongs of our past. Only you can save the world.
There's no way I...
Yes, there is. You have to. Don't you want to know the truth? Don't you want to know
I'm a little
what
bit confused
happened in
with the timeline
between
now.
Christmas and New Year's Eve in
Yeah.
2028?
I want to know who I am.
Well, yes, I do, but...
Then you must believe. Reality is shaped
really want
by
it to come
what
out on
we
Xbox.
believe reality should be. If observation can change the motion of a particle, then how is it odd to think that human thought can shape reality? Your will can change history. The world will be reshaped into the one you imagine.
I'd forgotten about this little particular bit. Because
Remember
obviously it's
what
very at the
I've
very
told
end.
you. Only
Now
you
I'm confused about the
can
third
change
game.
history. Only you can
But it is
save the world.
The player, which was what I think Kai said at the beginning of this bit. But that was very confusing. It's like, I've gone back into whose body? Alternative end. And that is the last achievement. A certain point of view, called a glimpse of another time. And also then, the very rarest, you found it. Gained all achievements. Yeah, I know there was a lot of... There we go. Got everything. Yeah, there was a lot of... Yeah. That was the thing. It was like... Okay, so that was 45 and a bit hours. That took me 5 hours longer than the first time I played this. So that is another time end. I have not heard of Punchline, I don't think. So yeah, so that took me 5 hours longer. Probably because I was doing more talking and getting distracted, and some of the puzzles I couldn't remember how to solve. I kind of regret not properly solving the queue room, but we were on a time crunch and we have just done another 2 hours, so clearly I should not be in charge of any kind of thingy. So now we just go loop back to the beginning, don't we? It's just one endless loop. But yeah, the third game fits into this and explains stuff, I think. It's been a while since I played it. I can remember a lot, but I don't want to say anything specific. Ooh, I didn't mean to do skip there. Okay, so if I quit here... Lewd, comedy, anime, and... Okay, so if we continue... And we continue from here. I want to try something. Because we've finished now. What? It sounds like a plot to a Piers Anthony book. Okay, so this is where we left. After basically our first run through, we hit the two-headed lion. So let's see, knowing we have the username and password, can we put this in now, having not unlocked anything else. Nothing else can we put this in? Because that's what I wanted to know at the very, very beginning. I mean, that just sounds absolutely ridiculous. I kind of want, like, I feel like Kai should stream that just purely because it feels like that sort of thing. That, you know, you could get away with streaming that because you could, GTF, not GTM. Yeah, I feel like it needs to be streamed so we can make fun of it. You can! Bye.
What's wrong?
What?
I got in.
How did you figure out the login?
Magic.
What the hell do you mean you just knew it?
Just knew it means I just knew it.
Why are you bringing that up? It doesn't have anything to do with this. What? Sure, fine. Just let me get... Are you out of your damn... Tell me what the heck... Why do you know how to log into this...
This is the same dialogue. So if you know the answers, you can skip the gates. You can't skip the locks. But you could skip the gates. I've got a save for bomb 2, which I imagine will be the same. But I shouldn't know this. I shouldn't be able to know this. But I guess...
Fine. You still don't make... I don't think you're... And the ape... Alright. Let's see what this... Where are we supposed... Looks like there's... Oh, I can try searching. Maybe we'll get a...
Because then, if I'd have done this before, would have been like... Yeah, Luna.
Looks like it. Don't ask me. You seem to know more. Fine, whatever. Just read the file. Let's see. Yeah. There's something... It says...
It is this special artificial
So yeah, I think we'll be able to do the same thing with the bomb as well. Which is... I'm gonna try that one. That was saved out of 26. I don't know whether the flashbacks are different or what. So that should be... No, that was the how do we stop Phi lock, okay. Hang on. Color Me Surprised, which is chartreuse. Nice. Okay, so let's try 26, try 28. I know I did a save. Maybe it's this one. Maybe it was the other one. I have to go through this damn December thing so many times. Ah, yes, this looks more like it. Yeah, I'm thinking that, yeah. Just be careful about looking up Zero Escape when you've not played all the games. I only look stuff up after I played all of them, because otherwise it's majorly spoilerly.
Hook it up.
Because even like looking at character pages on things. What are you looking up? Maybe I can like... Or maybe we can help without you actually, you know, spoiling yourself. So EQD would be F... R-E... Oh, no. Okay. F-R-E... E... Oh no! So that's free. X, Y, Z. S. O. U. L. Maybe it's supposed to be free the soul? So, yeah, I remember, yeah, that's the thing with the, like puns and stuff. You've got to be careful when they don't translate properly.
So you did know it.
But I couldn't have known it. I haven't unlocked the path. So yeah, you can totally cheese the game if you have all the passwords. Which would skip all the plot. Which doesn't seem pointful.
Don't scare me like...
Speedrun, exactly. So let me continue from my actual last save, so I've got a full... I'm going to resume from here because I want full flowchart. Yeah, we're stuck in December freaking 25th again. Always stuck in December freaking 25th. Yeah, I think like AI Somnium Files suffered from the same thing as well. So, okay, so if you play through and do cyan, betray, green, you'd need this. Where did Alice go? I think that one unlocks itself. Honestly. But you might need to play one of the other things here. Wait, no, it's not cyan betray. Hang on. It's this one we want to go down. Sorry, my bad. So, no, so you do cyan, betray, yes to get red, ally. How do we stop phi? Then you need to go back and do betray. So you can do betray first to get that end, which unlocks this lock. Who planted the bomb needs a Dio confession. Which needs this one, I think. Yeah, so, okay, so if you need a Dio confession, you need to unlock this route, which means that you need to then also figure out the antiviral, which needs you to do the lab route and is it the lab route? You need to know about the duplicator which is in the garden. We get that in the garden. But we also need to know about the lab. So we need to do at least part of the middle section to get the lab. Then we'd need to know what the long string of numbers is, which requires the DO end to get the number. Because we can't, that is required. So there's no locks on that route. But that gives us a pantry. So maybe to know about the Accelavir, this is the lab, that red door, which is not locked. Okay, so then assuming that's right, then that gives us the duplicator for the antiviral, then the long thing. Then we know that Dio did it. So we know that Dio did it. Goes there. Where is the number 0 bomb? We need to know. I think we could get that also with the Dio ending, because we'd need to know that he hid the knife and killed the lady, which we know in this thing because... Wait, no, then we need the K ending. Possibly. The K ending, which needs how confined K be saved, which needs to know about the antidote to tubercurin, which we didn't find until, like, Clover told us about something. Did we find it in the treatment center? We got it in the treatment center there. So, yeah. So, yeah, you can skip probably about half the game if you do the passwords. But why would you want to? Because you would not understand the story. Yeah, because I don't know whether the researcher's journal gives us... Well, that's in the secrets. We'll have a look at the secrets. So the injection gun might have the thing. Yeah. But we'll be very confused. The researcher's journal says about Accelavir and the fact that it is a whatchamacallit, but we need that note that says about IG, which we get in the garden. Yeah. So yeah, you could potentially skip half the game if you knew the passwords. You can definitely skip some of the sad endings, just the game overs, but I think to get everything to be able to continue, you very much at least need to do the picture endings and one fire ending. One game over. But it may be that you could skip some of the betray paths or some of the bad paths. But I love this game. And I love the first game, and the third game I don't remember as much, except that I remember a silly cutscene but that where they asked who did something and I blamed the dog, and that gave us the most amazing sarcastic remark, which I clipped. So, yeah. You can blame the dog! It's just really funny, because I was... yeah. I mean, you have to play it. And the forklift haven't... yeah, I remember Somnium Files is... Just turn that down a bit. Yeah, Somnium Files, I vaguely remember the forklift animation. I am still playing it on the Xbox. I'm playing it again through, so... although I finished the game, I'm playing it again because it came out on Xbox. So I will replay the forklift section. So I need to get the secret bit in that Somnium. Yeah, no, it's okay. And also it's in my VOD somewhere as well. But yeah, I do like this game, and I want the third one to come out on Xbox. I really hope it will. Obviously, this one's been out March 21st. It's probably... I vaguely remember it, so it must have been something I did. I tried a lot of things to try and figure stuff out. So yes, this came out in March. March 21st. So, season ago. I wonder what the difference between the Danganronpas were, because that might... So Danganronpa 1 came out Jan 22. Danganronpa 2 came out recently. My internet's being slow. This is annoying. At least it's not affecting my stream, but... God damn it, just load up the freaking game. Maybe True Achievement's being slow. Anyway, it came out recently. Danganronpa S is out. Yeah, so one would assume that potentially in 3 months' time-ish, we could get Zero Escape. Then the other one, what's it? Zero Time Escape. I think Danganronpa S is on the Switch or something. 3 that's not 3. Yeah, that one's not out on Xbox yet. So I'm still waiting for... So I've played 1. 2 came out in May. So that was January to May. So realistically, March to then... Now. It should be out like this month. For Zero Time Escape. Potentially. No. But it would be nice if it came out before Extra Life, because that would be really cool to play for Extra Life. And give you plenty of time to play it before Fuzzy, so you don't get spoiled. And then, yeah, we've got the new AI. So, yeah. Right, well, we're finished with this. I'll be back on Tuesday with something. Co-stream with Jessie, probably. The new Warboats list should be out, so that might dictate what we do. Yeah, I mean that we do play the same things, but I'm not massively fussy about spoilery stuff. It depends if I plan to play the thing. We do play similar things, and Kai does as well. But yeah, so yeah, Tuesday will be co-stream with Jessie, I think. Dependent on the game, dependent on like what's in our lists, probably. Thursday, either be a promo or a request game. I really haven't decided. But basically it's Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Sunday stream next week, because Friday is AI Somnium Vast Nirvana edition. I'll do the first section, like the first tiny bit, like 3-4 hours, but I'm not gonna blitz through it like I blitzed through this, but because I'm not streaming on Saturday, I'm streaming on the Friday because it's the day it comes out in the UK. I figured I'd do the first part and then give it a break for everyone, sort of catch up a little bit, and then sort of probably binge it. I'm only going to do the beginning, so it depends. Like, just going to do the beginning, just get into the game, whet my appetite, but then there'll be other games in between and before I go back to it, probably, just to give it time. But for now, I'm going to end here, I'm going to end here. I was going to raid Jessie, and Jessie is now raiding me. But I'm ending. So, yeah. That's going to be weird. Maybe we'll go Yeah, no, I'm not going to raid him, but I'm going to go raid Dopey. But I'll wait for the raid to come in so we can all go raid Dopey, who's playing Turn On. Because Dopey always raids me. So, yeah. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Where's my raid button? So feel free. So we're gonna raid Dopey. Get the username right. Who's playing Turn On. So yeah, feel free to copy the raid message and say hi. But yeah, everyone, thank you for being here. Thank you to Kitty for the sub and everything. Yeah. It's, oh no. Jesse is now raiding Dopey as well, so there we go. Yes, we've had fun with VLR. It's been awesome. Thank you so much for chatting, everyone. Sorry about the surprise stream. Next time I will plan better. That was an extra 2 hours I didn't anticipate. But yeah, let's go say hi to Dopey. Ivan Joe, otherwise known as Angelus K. Have a great rest of your weekend and hopefully have a great week next week. Bye.